Hey guys, it's Shan Crawford, life transformation coach and life coach that works with Lupus, or in other terms, lupus survivors. So, I wanted to share with you guys today some crazy thoughts about lupus. I wanted to sort of let you in on why I work with people that struggle with lupus. I am also a lupus fighter, I like to say. But I love to connect with people that can understand and that can relate to the condition, because it's something that's hard for people that are on the outside to understand. So today I really wanted to talk to you guys that do understand this life and this reality with lupus about some crazy thoughts, maybe some crazy or unpopular opinions about lupus. But I wanted to bring it to you because there are just some thought processes that I've used that have been helpful to me that I thought could also be helpful to you. Okay, so I hope you stick around. I want to give you something that you could use to serve you, and possibly something that could help anyone else that you might know that's going through that. Definitely share within the community or with others that are struggling with lupus. You never know who it can help. Okay, so again, I'm Shan. I have had SLE lupus since 2017, so for about 6 years now. I am or was pretty much an overachiever before being diagnosed with lupus. I had worked on a few businesses before. I was a fitness coach. I worked in taxes. I did people's taxes. I used to sell candy. I wrote a book. So I'm definitely considered to be an overachiever. And when lupus came into my life, I was definitely like on my fitness journey. I had lost like between 70 and 80 pounds, and 60 and 80 pounds. And I was loving life, but something was going on with my body. I went to the doctor for about 6 months. We couldn't figure out what was happening. And then finally they tested my blood and figured out that it was lupus. And from that point on, I really had to restructure my reality, which is something I know that you guys can relate to. And that's why I have this group, and that's why, and if you're seeing this, if you're on YouTube and you don't know what group I'm talking about, it's Life Coaching with Lupus, reshaping and transforming your life after lupus. I created that group so that people that are struggling with lupus can reshape and transform their lives into a better reality, because it can be really challenging to do that when you're faced with these new challenges, this condition that you have no control over and no cure for, or no specific medication for the lupus. Of course, if you have it, you know that there are some medications that work that help deal with certain symptoms that you have, but it may not just get all of the symptoms. Some lupus are lucky and they have maybe just joint pain. They get some medicine that deals with their joint pain and they can go about their day, but there are others who have different types of lupus, who have different sorts of challenges with lupus, where there's nothing necessarily that can help with that. Maybe something that can help a little bit with it to calm down the severity, but not always. Is there something that can address their symptoms that help them? One example of that is Toni Braxton. She has a lupus, I believe, that attacks her heart. And for different people with different types of lupus, it can attack different parts of your body. And for her, that's resulted in passing out on stage while working, having to go to the emergency room. And for those of you who do not know, if you're new to this, lupus can be life-threatening, so it can be very scary and can often run hand in hand with depression. And so when I was facing the sort of darkest, I guess, moments of having lupus, I really sought out to see how I can deal with this in the best way, because it can be really discouraging and really depressing to not have any answers and to think like this is never going to get better. I'm just going to keep suffering. So I went on a little spiritual journey, and I discovered a thought that was really helpful for me. I know that people believe different things, people have different belief systems, and that's completely okay. I don't, or I'm not against anybody's belief system unless it's to harm other people. But outside of that, I support what you believe. But I just want to offer to you that the thought that I'm offering today may be useful to serve you, even if you don't have necessarily the same spiritual beliefs that I've developed and formed over the years. So first, I kind of want to explain where it's coming from. I really wanted to figure out like why, why me? Why am I dealing with this? Why am I having to go through something that is so debilitating when I was such an overachiever? Why do I have to deal with depression that comes along with this? Like, why is this something that I'm having to suffer with? And why do I have so much strife around this disease? And when I went on this spiritual journey, I used to be a Christian. Now I'm non-religious. I am spiritual. I do believe in a higher power, but I do believe more so in the universe, source, that we can be a sense of our own higher power, and that if we look for the answers, that they can be within. So I went and I searched for the answers. There's a spiritual realm that also helps us sort of decode and figure out what's happening while we're here living this life on earth. But the concept that made sense to me, or at least serves me, is that our souls decide to have an experience on earth, whether that's multiple times, one time, if we want to do it again. We decide how we want to experience that life term when we come down here and come into human form. So our souls decided before we came through this life form that we wanted to see what it was like to suffer from a chronic illness, and how we can deal with life, and how we can really elevate and transcend and live up to our highest potential. I believe personally. But that doesn't mean that we always reach the answers. It doesn't mean that we remember necessarily what our soul was trying to do. But before we come down here, that's the decision that we make. We decide that we're going to have this kind of experience and that there will be a purpose behind it. But when we do come into life form, we have to rediscover that. So that's when, people come across their life purposes and their callings and discover, oh, this is what I'm meant to be doing. They have this feeling of alignment that feels right for what they're doing. For me, that's life coaching, but for others, it differs, it varies, right? And so with that understanding that I decided to come into this life with this condition, I had to understand or try to analyze why would I decide to come down here, and what can I do with that thought to serve me. And I decided that I remember reading some time ago, like, I love to learn, I love to explore, research, consider different beliefs, different histories. I just love learning, right? And so there was a time where I came across some information about people who come in and have disabilities like Down syndrome, or I'll just say Down syndrome, right? Or our autism, right? And it made sense to me to apply that same concept to this person decided to come on here and have this experience with that condition, because whatever their purpose is here, it could be to teach people how to love when you look different, when you can't change your behaviors for the sake of pleasing other people. For us, for people that have lupus, it could be, the purpose could be to learn how to do things differently with the limits that we have on our life, because they're not like the limits that a person that with cancer has, or a person who is missing limbs has. There are different limits that we experience with different sicknesses and different illnesses and different conditions and different challenges. And so when we come down here and decide, I want to experience that illness, what is it about having that illness that I can use to serve a greater purpose for myself and even for others? Maybe for you, the purpose is to learn to love yourself when you have nothing to offer that society would deem valuable, if that makes sense. Like, you can't work, it's hard for you to maintain relationships, you can't get around the house, you can barely do things for your kids. And maybe the purpose is for you to learn that you're still valuable, even though you can't do to earn people's love, if that makes sense, right? Or your purpose could be to learn how to do new things with the set of challenges, like I said before, which I personally strongly believe in, that you're faced with. You're faced with a certain set of conditions and limitations, and now moving towards your life purpose. If you're in this group, you want better for your life, you want to live up to your potential. So for you, this may resonate with you, that you may be here to figure out how to pursue what you're here to do with the limitations that you have been given. And that is the thought that I feel like serves me with my lupus, and I wanted to share that with other people, because I know that we sit and think, what can I do with my life now that I'm living this new reality? And we think, oh, well, I had all these dreams, I had these passions, I had these things that I loved to do before, and I can't do those things now. So now what am I going to do with my life? What am I supposed to do? I can't live up to those things, those dreams anymore. So what am I supposed to do with my life? And I believe that what you're supposed to do is to create your own customized path toward what your dreams and your passions and your purpose or your calling is in this world. It doesn't necessarily have to be a work thing like it is for me, life coaching. I'm working and that's a career for me, but that's also my life purpose. But for you, it could be hobbies. For you, it could be family, to serve a purpose as a role in your family, a mother, a wife, a partner, a spouse. It could be different for each and every person. So for you, you have to figure out what it is that you desire out of life. And then now with your set of conditions and limitations, what can you do to craft a new path for yourself to get to those desires? And that's what I love to help people do. I did that for myself. When I was back working full-time job, I worked with the mental health population, and I really loved seeing people transform, come into the clinic or come into the hospital looking miserable, in a dark place, in depression, and then walking out with solutions, with tools, even for some with medicine that helped them feel better and have hope about life again, and walk out of the clinic, walk out of the hospital with a smile on their face, or with the light bulb turned back on, with light back in their eyes instead of their souls draining. Do you know what I mean? And so that transformation that I like to see in people, I fell in love with. So that's how I fell into life coaching. But I want you to think about the things that you might be passionate about, the things that you love to do, and consider what you can do and how you can do it differently. And how you can work around your lupus in order to restructure a new reality and a new way of living to still be able to do those things. Now, I am not one of those people that's going to push on you like to try these new herbal medicines, to do like holistic medicine, to try these certain doctors that are recommended. Like, I've done so much trial and error for myself. You know, some things have been helpful, some things not. Some things are helpful for a while, and then they, you know, regress, and sometimes I'm in remission for a while. But I know that the things are different for every person. But I try to coach and teach from a perspective of, if there's nothing that you can do as far as taking medicine or treatment wise to fix your lupus, what can you do where you are now with your lupus in order to move towards your dreams, your passions, your goals, and your desires, right? So that's the crazy thought. That you may be being challenged with this condition in order to figure out a new way of doing things, right? And I feel like if I can find a way to live out my dream and pivot in my passion in a way that rewards me, I feel like you can do that for yourself as well. And it doesn't always have to be financial reward. It can be emotional reward. It can be any type of reward you desire based on what you want and what you desire. But I want you to be able to achieve that for yourself. I want you to be able to get back to living your best life. I don't want you to stay in this place where you're feeling like this is all that, these are the cards that are handed to me, this is all that I'm going to be able to do with my life, and this is just my new reality here. Yes, it's your new reality, but you can make the best of it, and you can still live your best life, and you can still live up to your highest potential given the circumstances that you've been given with your lupus. So that's why we're here, guys. And I would love to hear your thoughts about this. I would love to hear conversations surrounding this. I know that some of you mentioned that you would love some healthy conversations around lupus, and I would love to hear some feedback from you guys. So comment definitely on this video. Share it if you feel called. DM me if you're not comfortable saying it, you know, in front of everybody. If you have individual circumstances that you want to talk about yourself, definitely reach out. But this is a community, and I want us to be able to share and have dialogue around this, so that everyone can get to living their best lives. Everyone can get to shaping a life and transforming their life for the better. And that's it. I think we can conclude the video for today. I will be seeing you guys in other lives. So hopefully you guys found that thought helpful and something that could be of service to you. And that was something of value to you. But if not, you know, it's okay. I would love to hear your thoughts surrounding it regardless. And I will hope to be putting up another live video here soon. I would like to continue the conversation and the dialogue around it, but definitely reach out to me if you have any concerns or you have any questions or there's anything that you want to talk about on a one-to-one basis. And of course, you know, my services always stand if you want to work together, if you would like to work with a life coach individually and not just get coaching in the group, then you can definitely reach out to me and we can take it from there. So thanks guys for listening. Thanks for sticking around, and I will see you in the group.